One area where we disagree on, you can see with my wristband here that we do agree on a lot, but one area where we do disagree on is religion, and particularly your justification for the veracity of religion and for the existence of God. And so in a lot of these discussions with, I think with Joe Rogan, with Dave Rubin, you talk about free will as your justification for the existence of God, that free will is something incorporeal, and it's hard to explain the existence of free will, so we need a God to justify that sort of thing as sort of an underlying principle for prosperous civilizations. Is that kind of an accurate sum of your...
75%, right?
Yes, okay, sounds good. 75% with you is pretty good.
I mean, it's hard to sum up a broader view.
Yes, a very broad view of that. But I have a more biologically determinate view of free will. Observationally speaking, I think that we can determine different organisms' free will based on the cognitive capacity that they have. So for example, a bacterium is going to have less free will than a lizard is going to have less free will than a chimpanzee, and then going all the way up to humans who have less free will. And we can also determine different areas of our bodies, specifically our brains, that are going to determine the capacity for reasoning and the capacity to make rational decisions. People with damage to their prefrontal cortex are going to make more impulsive decisions. So with that very observationally sound view of free will and sort of a biologically deterministic, from a biologically deterministic standpoint, is religion going to be the only justification for the existence of God and the existence of free will in your view?
There are certain things that cannot be observed. For example, the mind-body duality that exists is something that's not observationally possible. We're never going to be able to lock down exactly why that exists, I think. Why it is that we feel that we have the capacity for choice, for example. And when you talk about the limitations on free will, I would fully agree with that, obviously. I mean, somebody who's been hit in the head with a hammer is going to have less free will than somebody who's not. You have less free will when you're asleep than when you're awake. Yeah. Obviously, there is a connection between your capacity for free will and your brain function. But I would press you a little bit, and can we have an exchange here? What I'd press you a little bit on is what you mean when you say biologically determined free will. So why do you what do you believe free will is? Like, do you believe that I have the capacity to choose otherwise? In other words, in a given circumstance, I could have chosen to do something else, or based on biology and environment alone, if we had all the information, we fed it all into a giant computer, right? Then I could, with 100% accuracy, determine what exactly what decision you were going to make. You did not actually have a choice. In other words, free will doesn't exist. Like, Sam Harris is consistent on this.
Yes.
Sam Harris says everything is material, everything that's measurable is material, and therefore free will doesn't exist. So we don't have a choice about how this conversation is going right now. It's going to end with everybody applauding and you walking away, right? That's how this
that is how it is going to be.